Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, I wanted to talk about ways that you can get out of the friend zone with an avoidant. And I've had calls with a lot of you guys regarding this situation. For your specific case, if we mentioned other things, it's because there are specific dynamics in your relationship that needs to be a little bit differently than the video we're covering. So if you had a call with me and it's a little bit different than what we're discussing in this video, it's because your dynamic has a little bit of different things going on in that. And so please, whatever we talk about in the call is going to trump whatever I'm making in videos, because what I'm making in videos is a general guide. It's not going to be specific for every case. So please keep that in mind. And if you want to book a call with me, that's pinned in the comments. So let's first talk about why avoidance put you in the friend zone. And these are things that are typical regardless of your case, but the scenarios can be a little different. The first one is control and their rigid perspectives. They're rigid guides, honestly, for how they view relationships and love. Avoidants often desire control in relationships, preferring to dictate the pace and terms. And so what that means is by you being in the friend zone, they are often setting it up to where they are always calling the shots, the romantic shots. You don't have much expectations because you think they're friends. You guys are friends. And so they're able to not fail your expectations. This is where it comes from. And so the best way to do it from this angle, and what I want to do is every single one of these points, I'm going to say the solution for if that's the issue. And so if you feel like your avoidant partner is the controlling, rigid type, and you might have multiple of these, the solution likely is to reciprocate their acts of love and build rapport and slowly prompt for more closeness. And this can be tricky because sometimes what happens is if it happens too quickly, avoidance might pull away, but usually they return. And the interesting part about a lot of avoidance is most of them do return. You guys know that. We've talked about this before. I've had some of you guys where you guys have been together for years and it's like off and on, but it truly is as the relationship progresses, we're seeing the relationship gets deeper as well, but you cannot remain in some sort of pseudo relationship. You want at least some fundamentals. And part of it is to build rapport and then slowly prompt for closeness. You want to reciprocate their acts of love, but you also want to appreciate it. I appreciate you showing up for me. This means a lot to me. I appreciate you opening up to me. And another sub point of this is a lot of times when you're in this situation where they are kind of controlling and they always call the shots, you can get frustrated as well. And so what I recommend is if you are in this situation where you're getting frustrated, take a moment to step back yourself, not because you're playing games, because you need time to calm down. It can be a couple days and you don't have to tell them if you don't want to, or you can. You can mention, I'm just feeling a little bit dysregulated. I need some time for myself. You don't have to say it's because of them, but by doing this, it also shows that you have control of your own emotions and they can't control you fully. And this is important because it allows them to get comfortable with the control dynamic, okay? The next one is their fear of disappointment. Avoidants fear disappointing their partners due to that higher expectations that romantic relationships come to or have in comparison to friendships. And so, for example, if we have a female avoidant, for example, and not all avoidants are females, avoidants can be either male or female. It's not gender correlated. If we have a female avoidant and she says to you that she's afraid that she won't be able to meet your expectations, that happens a lot where she's like, well, I can see us being in a relationship, but I also feel like I'm not sure if I can meet your expectations. She might say something along those lines. What you're hearing is that she has thought about a romantic relationship for with you, but she shuts it down because she's thinking, okay, I'm not going to meet his needs. He's going to get mad at me. He's going to think I'm not enough. And then he's going to abandon me. And so keeping the relationship platonic allows her or him to maintain control and stay away from that potential disappointment. And so the way to manage this one actually is interesting because you directly go to the source with this one. The control one, you don't necessarily go to the source. But with this one, you communicate you don't really have those high expectations and you appreciate the way they are. So an example, if let's say she mentions that an ex used to pressure her to get married and she was not ready, you can say something like, I just want you to know that not every guy is like that. I'm not that kind of person. I'm okay waiting and being flexible. I know you don't see me like that, and I'm not saying that's what we are, but I do want to let you know if that ever does happen, I'm not going to be the type of person to do that. I've known you for a while. I know you well enough to know that that would be disrespectful for you, and that's also disrespectful for me. I want things to happen organically. If it even happens, I don't care. You can show up in a way where you're presenting yourself as yourself, and you have to be confident. A lot of you guys are not confident, and I'm being honest with you about how you feel and who you are. And you're so afraid to lose this relationship that you don't even realize that part of the reason it's staying in the way that it is because you're not speaking confidently. You can say anything, but if you say it confidently, it lands a little bit better with avoidance. It doesn't mean say it harsh, say it confidently. That's the difference, okay? And you want to appreciate where they are. You can say, I appreciate what we have, and I want you to know that's not going away. I appreciate who you are. I appreciate that I know you so well. That's important to me. By saying these things, you're allowing them to feel like their fear of not being able to meet where you're at, not being able to give you what you want is still subsided because you can see their effort regardless of if it meets a threshold or not. Now, the next one, speaking of female avoidance, this one is more common with female avoidance. Male avoidants do this, but not nearly as often. Protecting the bond. Particularly with female avoidance, they fear losing the bond that you have, which leads you to be in the friend zone. It sounds very backwards, but it is true. And I really want you guys to understand. Keeping a relationship platonic means that they can avoid heartbreak and loss of you. You are something that they feel will always be permanently in their life. And I'm going to explain where this comes from with a female avoidant perspective. I've worked with female avoidance, and you guys know that I've worked with some of your couples call, and your girlfriend is avoidant, right? And so what I mean by this is she believes that all relationships end in heartbreak. And she doesn't want you to be in that situation because she doesn't want to lose you. It sounds backwards, but it's because you know that not all relationships end in heartbreak. In her mind, imagine if you definitively believed that all relationships end in heartbreak, would you put the person you love the most and care about the most in that situation where you will lose them eventually? Most people will not. They would rather bargain and have them forever, even if they can't romantically be with them. That's kind of the way it feels for a lot of female avoidants if they do this. Discuss the importance of friendship regardless of what happens. You can say, you will never lose me. Even if we break up, you will never lose me. You can say that. I'll never think badly of you. I'll never think poorly of you, no matter what happens. If this deepens into a relationship, if this deepens into something like marriage, not saying it will, and we break up for whatever reason, you're not going to lose me. I'm never going to think ill of you. I'm never going to forget you. I'm never going to be away from you. Saying things like that really, really, really helps with this particular one. The next one is external pressure. Now, this one is something that can be a little bit tricky to manage. They might love you, but they're afraid of what it would cost them. For example, if y'all are coworkers. And so if this is the case, ask them directly. Maybe have a conversation about the perceived pressure, whether it can be worked through. So for example, you can say, is there a barrier as to why maybe you don't want to see this as more? Do you feel like it'll cost you your job? Do you feel like your family will judge us? Let me know what's going on so that I can at least have an appropriate understanding of this relationship. And so I hope this made a little bit of sense for you guys. There's plenty more, and I actually want to make more videos about this topic because most of the calls I've been having has been relationships a little bit more like this, where it's a long-term romantic friendship, but it's like romantic, like you're talking about things romantically, physically. Sometimes you've been physical. And so it's not a friendship, but they're calling it a friendship. And so that's why I'm going to probably focus a little bit more on videos like this because it's important. And again, if you want to book a call with me, that's pinned in the comments. Hope this video is helpful. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.